Hey guys, welcome to our Scholar Online YouTube channel, the channel that is all about learning. All right, so we're going to continue with our video tutorial where we are building an AI content generator where we left off last week. All right, so if you're new to the channel, remember to like the video that you're watching. It really helps us with the YouTube algorithm to make this video visible to other people if people interact with our videos. So like the video, leave a comment. Even if it's not a positive comment, I try to respond as much as possible to the comments that I get on my videos. All right, and then I'll open up that show more button under the video that you're watching. Okay, and if you want to support me, definitely don't be afraid to buy me a beer. I love my beer lots, and I will link a lot of the useful links that I talk about here. If I say I will link it in the description below, you'll find it in there. All right, and then there's also links to our social media, and I think if you want to get in touch with us, the link to our website, and and so forth and so forth. All right, so what we're building here today is going to be a bit of a long-ish video, but by the end of this video today, right, I'm recording this intro video at the end. This is what we're going to build. We're going to have this a Django website running. Okay, it still talks a lot of gibberish. It's not exactly what we want, so later on we'll continue with adding proper content in here, but you're gonna have a working Django application, at least the landing page of it, done by the end of this video. Okay, so make sure you sit and watch it all the way to the end and you don't miss a detail. All right, so one other thing I'm going to mention is I get these comments all the time. Where is the code? Where is the code? I'm going to specifically not provide code for this tutorial series because I want you to code along with me. I'm going to show everything I'm doing and I want you to follow me step by step, because what tends to happen when I provide code, people just go download the code and then they try to run it and they don't understand what the code is doing and they didn't go through the steps of building the code themselves, because part of learning is the ability to build the code yourself. And yes, you're going to run into some errors in some cases, and then Google is your friend. Okay, you just copy that error and you paste it into Google and you search for it. You're going to find 2-3 more people with the same problem and somebody has answered them. And if nobody has answered them, you go to Stack Overflow. All right, you go to Stack Overflow and you create an account over here, and then you paste your error code and everything that you've been doing and what you struggled with, and you ask a question. Within a day or so, somebody that is probably more experienced than I am is going to answer your question. Okay, so don't copy and paste your errors into the chatbot, okay, because I hardly ever get a chance to answer those because I don't understand your code and what you're doing and how you got to that error, and I definitely won't have the time to go through each and every single specific error. So Stack Overflow is your friend. Okay, copy and paste your error in here. You're going to find a solution already. Trust me, I think 99% of the errors you're going to come across have already been solved by somebody else. Maybe that 1%, which is highly unlikely, then you can post in here and somebody else will answer you. All right, so let's get learning and pick up where we left off last week. So last week we did a couple of things, so we've got this notes. This is linked in the description below, taking us through all the steps that we're going to follow. And as we click a step, we just sort of like a to-do list, we're going to click that it's done so that we remember. So last week we've already done all of this. All right, we've done an overview, we've looked at a VPS, we've set up our VPS, we've set up the SSH keys. If you're in Windows, I gave you some advice on what to use. All right, so we even created a Django application which is running, okay, but it's running inside of the virtual private server. What we need to do today is to bring it over so we can type on it, because it's very difficult to type and work from a virtual private server. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. But first of all, let us get to our template. So there was a template that I linked up here. I think it was a Phoenix admin template. If you sort of like click on it or copy that link and you try to get to it, this was available last week, but today it's page not found, which I think they've removed the template, so it's no longer available. And this can happen. So you might be watching this video months, weeks after I've created it, and all of the templates that I used at the time might not be available. Okay, so don't despair. All you have to do is go back to ThemeWagon. Okay, we're working with ThemeWagon, so go back to ThemeWagon, and when you get started here, you can search. All right, so you've got like different types of templates you can work with. Theme Wagon is not completely free. It has free templates, and you can see it also has paid templates. So when you get here, you can just search for admin template like that, right? And then you'll see the templates will come up. You'll be able to see all the different templates that are available. Then all you've got to do is at the top here, filter the free ones, okay? Because you get the premium ones and the free ones. And I can let you know there's a difference. Sometimes the free ones also have a premium version, in the sense that they give you just a little bit of the, stuff from the template, and they want you to buy more, and you must buy the premium version. So we're going to work with the free one, but don't be afraid to buy a premium version of a template. Sometimes it works better. But if you definitely want to buy a premium version, I like purchasing from Enviro. Okay, Enviro Elements and Enviro Market. So there are two places you can purchase from. You can get templates from Enviro Elements, and you can also get templates from Enviro Market. Okay, so typically, depending on what project I'm doing, especially if I'm doing something very nice for a client that I need to really work with something, that looks very professional, sometimes I'll go to Enviro Market. So if you go to enviro.com, at the top there you can see all the different Enviro package, sort of websites available, and you want to click this one. And if you go to Enviro Market, then you also can search for templates here. So you can search for admin template like that, and they will come up. And some of these templates are cheaper. They work out cheaper than the templates from Theme Wagon if you're going to have to pay for it. And some of these templates actually are better if you have a little bit of money to spare. I mean, you can get a template even for $10 here. And I think if you're going to build something that you're going to charge people for, and you want it to look really professional, you don't have to work with a template. I'm just showing you a free version so that we can start something. But ultimately, definitely consider looking in, Enviro Market. But the thing with Enviro Market is you pay per download. So every time you find a template you like, you literally have to download it and pay for it at that time. And Enviro Elements works slightly differently, that you pay for a subscription. And that subscription is very cheap. I think it works up to about $16 a month, right? But you get so much more. You get web templates, you get presentation templates, graphic templates, music, logos. You get all sorts of things. So if you're in a space where you're building web applications on a regular basis, you are definitely going to need an Enviro Elements account, because it's not just a web template that you need, right? Because they get web templates. If you click on web templates, you can download any one of these web templates. Remember, what you want is not a WordPress template, but an HTML web template, because that's what we're going to edit to get to work with Django. All right, but then you're going to get photos. You can browse through the photos, and you're going to need photos for your website, right? So these are stock images that are sort of, like you pay for one subscription and you can use all the images in here. They've got thousands and thousands and thousands, and you get access also to 2020 for free if you have Enviro Elements. All right, so you're gonna need this if you're a web developer. They've got graphics. Okay, so these are the graphics that I put up on my website. So if you look at my website here, let me show you my website here. So graphics, okay, not on this one, you don't see a lot of graphics here, but I want to find a website which has graphics. Let me try Free Invoice. All right, you see this type of graphics that you have on a website. A lot of websites you're going to need to create, these type of graphics. Okay, if you're a web developer, you're probably going to have to hire a graphic designer to sort of set these things up for you. Okay, but if you're starting out and you really want to create a website for the least amount of money, you might not have to be able to afford, even on Fiverr, hiring a graphic designer. So when you come to Enviro Elements, for example, you can download a lot of these graphics. You can search for, I don't know, because we're going to be doing, a copyright. So you can search for blogging, let's say blogging, all right, under graphics. And you can see all the type of graphics you can download, and you can use this all over your website. You can use it, anywhere, and you get, like I said, with Enviro Elements, you pay once, so that's $16 a month. So this is definitely worth having. If you guys are really following along and you want to be able to get the best product possible, you're not always going to be able to do it for free, okay? You're gonna do it for free to a point, but if you're going to build an application that you want to charge people for, that needs to look professional and top notch, at some point or another you can pay $15 and get access to Envato and be able to download all of these things. Okay, so we'll probably get to this later, but not today. I just wanted to show you alternatives to the free templates that I'm going to be working with. And it happens sometimes that I look at a template and I download it, and halfway working with it, I realize it doesn't have something very, very crucial. Okay, so sometimes I like to have a live preview. So when you look at the template before you download it, right? So these are the ones I think I'll go with. I'll go with Snit to replace the other one that they've replaced. So I'm going to copy that and put it in here. So when you come here next time, you'll find this one instead. But if you get here and it's been removed again, don't despair. Just download any template. They'll work exactly the same. Of course, it would have been nice to follow me exactly, but it's not necessary. Okay, the concepts are the same. So when you get to the template page, definitely have a look at the live preview. It's very, very important because you get to see what the template looks like. And you get to see what you get. Okay, so there are a couple of things you need to make sure you have on a template. The first one is forms. All right, forms. You gotta have form elements. So have a look at your form elements there and look at your basic input. So this one has got just basic inputs and form groups. So it doesn't have complex things like color pickers and stuff like that. So, but I don't think we're building a huge website, so I'm not too worried about that. So these basic form elements look okay to me. Input groups, you can see the input groups that the template has. I think this, I don't know, we're not building something major. We're building just like, be a blog builder. So ideally, you would want to have something like a text area, like a big text area where people can type, even like an HTML text area, but you never get that with templates. We're going to have to install that separately. So, and I'll show you how. So, then let's look at tables. Tables are important because you always want to gather information in a back end template. You always want to be able to like show lists. Maybe you want to be able to show people the list of the last time they created a blog, whatever, and maybe they can click on it and go to the details of the blog they created. Maybe you're going to be able to store in your database information with respect to the kind of the uses they've got, But I think with a copywriter, it's not necessary to have a huge database, because usually when I use this copywriting tool, I sort of use them there and I copy and paste whatever it is I generated and I take it somewhere else. But a good tool would have the ability to store a search. So if I've done a search for blog titles, and I didn't use that search, I should be able to go back and find it. So maybe you want to be able to store that in a database, and then you want to display it in something like a table form. People can go and look at the date they last created it, So you need to make sure you've got at least a good, table format. And what I love is, and I see they don't have it here now, it's probably going to be in the pro version, is data tables. Okay, data tables are very, very important, so that you can, just display everything at once, and then it gets organized in a data table. So every time I look for a template, I always search for data table, and you can see this one does not have data tables, probably because it's a free version. Okay, so you can implement a data table yourself. But if they don't have the styling for it, it's not always going to look the way you want it to look. So ideally, you want to find a template that already has a data table. And I'm sure if you went to the pro version, they'll have it, because I think the light version, they sort of like, they've cut things out. Okay. The next one is the icons. Icons are very, very important. You need to make sure you've got icons. You can see these icons here. They're very limited. Okay. Okay, so they're not showing all the icons. All right, I don't like this template. It really doesn't have enough. I've seen free templates that have got more than this, so I'm not going to use this one. Let's search some more. So this one is we're definitely taking. Let me close that window. Let's search. Let's just go through admin template, Bootstrap 5. All right, and admin template. All right, and then okay, it doesn't take me to Bootstrap 5. It's just sort of, it can be anything. So that's the one. It was the first one that came up. All right, so let's look a little bit more. So you can always organize by latest, or you can organize by rating. Okay, if you I find if I organize by download count, I get templates that are, that are not always right. Like templates that people have to download templates which have lots of templates in one, like packages, and they're not always the best, so I'd rather maybe go by rating and see what happens. All right, I think that's better. So I want an admin template. Let's see. So this one is not, let's go back to free. So this is free. Why is there a price there? Okay. So Falcon, that's $49. That's not free. That's not free. All right. That's free. So this is not organizing the way that I want. These are not all admin templates. And why is it showing the same templates again? So I really want free templates. That's an admin. Okay, so let me just go back to latest, because perhaps that will work better. Okay. So this is a template collection. And I think it has the last template that we wanted, the Phoenix template. I really wanted that template. And it has more. So you can sort of get even the landing page. We could use this one for the landing page as well. It's got that. So let's try this one, okay? So I'm going to say download for free. And if it works, I'll put this link for everybody to just download this. So maybe we'll just end up using one, because it has both an admin template and a landing page template, okay? So let's click the download button. I think the first time it just downloaded. Okay, I was going to say the first time you try to download, they will ask for a, they will ask for your email address and stuff, but it looks like it just went through without a hitch, okay? So, or alternatively, use this to download the whole pack, okay? Maybe let's do that rather. Let's actually remove this so people don't get confused. Let's just put website templates. All right, so let's just do that, and then people that come here in the future, they'll see that. And then okay, DigitalOcean account, let's copy this link so that when they get to here, they know this is how to get an account. Willingness to learn. All right, awesome. So let us now check our download. All right, so if you click over here, okay, the download is still going on because that's a huge file. All right, so we're going to I'm going to fast forward to when the download is completed, and then we can continue from there. Okay, so the download has finished. It was quite a huge file. Okay, it's like over a gig in size. That's why it took so long to download. But then I checked out, and this actually provides you 100 pre-built templates. So if you open this and open the live preview, it will take you to this page where you can see they're giving you 100 website templates. I didn't even realize that before I downloaded, but I suppose it's a good thing, which means you only have to download this once, and in future, whatever other website you want to build, you can always come back and you'll find the templates. You can see over there, you can see all the templates, the admin templates, the business corporate templates, landing pages, e-commerce, food and restaurant, medical, travel booking, more. So there's a lot of templates you're getting here. You're getting 100. That's why it took so long to download. And they actually have that Phoenix template we were looking for before that we couldn't, that the download link had been removed. So if you download this version, you'll get all of it. So I actually recommend, I think I went back and I removed the other one. Just download this one, okay? And make sure you've got a good internet connection, because I had to try at least 5 times because it kept dropping connection in between because the template is so huge, okay? But I finally managed to get it downloaded. We need 2 different templates. We need one for admin and we need another one for the landing page. So I browsed through a little bit here, and I think I wanted to use, I found a one that I like for the landing page. That's really nice. But I found a more simpler version. Okay, when you're doing these things, the simpler the better. So it's going to be SEOgram, okay? So I'm going to open this a new tab and just show you, so you can have a look at what it looks like, okay? So this is what I want to do. Yes, the template itself is literally called SEOgram, but I can already visualize what I'm going to do with it here. I'm going to have a nice call to action at the beginning, maybe a video over here that people can quickly see what they can do with this. Generate text, or maybe just a nice, a graphic over there, or there's a link for a video. You can link a YouTube video or something over there. I was already thinking of a video. And then you can have all the different types of content you're going to create, blog, whatever. So people can click and it can take them to a more detailed page where they read more about that specific content they'll create, and then it they can decide if that's what they want to do. All right. And then you have more, like this template looks like it has pretty much everything I need, and you can have a sort of like this. You can even put a form in here where people can oh, not ready yet, please put in your email address, whatever, and then you can add them to your mailing list if you've got one. And then you've got a nice pricing thing. I'm always looking for the pricing, because then you can decide what type of pricing you're going to use. So you can say, I don't know, 1,000 words, I'm going to charge this much, 2,000 words, 3,000 words. We'll decide that later on. So this just it's very simplistic, it's very straightforward, it looks very neat. And what I always try to do is to just do this and double check that your template is optimized for mobile, all right, which usually is, by the way, but you just have to double check this. Sometimes it's not. So before I download it, just double check the menu works, and that if somebody was looking at this from a mobile device, it would work fine. Well, ultimately we have to test it on a real mobile, but this is a good indication of whether or not your template is able to sort of move around and work well even on a smaller screen. This would be like a tablet screen, it would look slightly different, and then this would be maybe a mobile device, and you can see, are you happy with what this would look like on the mobile? All right. So I think I'm happy with that. And what I like is that it has actually multiple pages. So this is not just a section within that home page, right? So this is actually about us page, which you can use to create a detailed page for these services that you've got. So you can create a detailed services page, but you've got services there. There you go. And if you click read more, it just takes you back to the services page. But that's okay. So our services can be like our products, like the different type of SEO things we're going to build. And we'll think about that later, right? So I think I'm happy with this template. So let's definitely start with this, all right? And then for the admin template, I thought I'm going to work with this one. If you go to, let me find it better, admin dashboard, I think I'm going to drop Phoenix, but you can use any template you like. Okay, you don't have to use the one I'm using. Go through this list and find one that's good for you, all right, and that you feel attached to. Okay, you can follow my instructions on any template, all right. So I looked at this and I thought Skydash. Yeah, Skydash. Skydash looks nice. It's very, if you look at Skydash, it looks almost similar to that. Like you could almost believe that this is an extension of that. This is an extension of that. So that when you go into the admin side where people are actually now, working, and you got your, models running at the back, and your API where people actually have to get authorization access to get to, you can sort of, it will feel seamless. It won't feel like it's a completely different application, because most applications don't provide most templates don't provide a landing and a dashboard. You almost have to buy them separately, but they should talk to each other, preferably if you can get them from the same creator, that would work well. But I think this will work for our free tutorial. So you can see what's important with an admin dashboard. Number one, that you must make sure it's there, because it's not there in all the dashboard templates, is you need to make sure you've got your authorization pages, login and register. Very, very important. Some templates don't have it, and then you're gonna have to find another third template just for authorization, and that is not doesn't make sense. And make sure that you got social sign-in. You can always recreate this button, but if they made one for you, that's really nice. Then you can have a look at, they've got the register page as well, which is just similar to the login page. That's very important. Remember what I said to you, make sure they've got forms. All right, so if you look at our form elements, make sure you've got proper forms, that your form will look nice, because this is how we're going to be getting information. All right, that's very, very important. They've got a bit of a dashboard as well with some sort of cards and things you can sort of customize. They've got a charting system, which I don't think we'll be using in our dashboard, but this is really nice to have, and tables. So I think I'm happy with this. So we'll use the Skydash and the SEOgram, all right? Let's continue now. So after you've downloaded, I've downloaded it, you're going to get a zip file like that. So I've opened that zip file, and then I've extracted it, and this is the folder that was inside of the zip file. You can see, if I make this a little bit bigger, It's free bundle 2022. Okay, so this is quite recent, they've put it together. But if you open it up, you'll see there's like 100 different templates. There's lots of templates, so you can use this for like the rest of your programming career, at least for the rest of the year, without having to download another template again. So and these are free, and the licensing allows for you to use it, so I'm happy with that. So let's start with the landing. So this is the important one. So let's start with this SEOgram. All right, so SEOgram, let's look for this on the list. I think it's this one over there. All right, SEOgram. And just double check that if you go into the, okay, obviously you want to read the license because that's important. They explain to you what kind of license, what you can use this for, what you can't use this for. That's very important that you don't break the rules, because some of these things require you to have attribution, that you must not remove the link at the bottom, the one that says created by, so you might not be able to remove that, but double check in the licensing and what you're allowed and what you're not allowed to do. But I think majority of the free templates, you can use them. You can even use it for clients. You can even use it for a commercial project. You just have to sort of maintain the attribution. And if you want to remove it, you can purchase templates from places like Envato, and where you don't have to have attribution at the bottom. Right, then I'm going to go into HTML. So this is where all my HTML is. You can see you've got your assets folder. So this is very important. Make sure, because we're going to be working with direct HTML, make sure you have an assets folder and an HTML, because some of these templates are created inside of a web framework. So you're gonna find that maybe it's a React template or it's some other web framework, and you can't actually directly get the HTML and assets, which is a problem, because in Django we want the assets folder because we want to be able to refer to the assets directly from our Django application, and then we want our HTML file so that we can edit and modify it according to the Django way of doing things. All right, so we can create our pages in HTML. So these are the important things that we need. All right, so you need to make sure that your template has got that. So I think we're definitely ready to start with this one. And let's have a look at the other one that we're going to work with, the SEOgram. Not the SEOgram, the second one, the Skydash. What was it called? Skydash, yes. So I think that's Skydash over there. So let's open it up. And I think this one also has assets and everything, but it's in a different format. You can see your images, your docs, your CSS, your fonts. So this is all your assets folder. Okay, we're not going to need the package lock and these other files. We just need really the assets, and then we need the HTML. Okay, so if you open the HTML over there, you'll see it opens just fine. Okay, and this is what we want. All right, so I see that's HTML. I just want to open something else like the chart and see what that is. Okay, so it's under pages. All right, so you'll have to then get the pages, and then you'll get all these other things. So when you get your HTML, you must get this and that and this file and that pages file, and then so this template will also work for what we need it for, and we can ignore the other things. Great. So now that we've got that sorted, we're going to start with our Django project. We're going to start building it. I mean, we've already built it, but we're going to do something else, okay, that I didn't put in our list, but let me just add it on. All right, so over here we need to install the editor. So let's do that first, and after we install the editor, what we need to do is that we need to prepare our HTML templates for Django. All right, because the templates as we have them now, they are just plain HTML. We need to sort of put them in a format that will be able to then just upload it easily into our Django application. You understand? So that we'll do that today, but let's start with installing our code editor that we're going to work from. Okay, so I've put a link here, HTML atom.io. Just go over there, you'll come to this page, atom.io, and you can download Atom. Atom is basically a code editor that I use, but you can use any code editor that you like. You can use, there's lots of Sublime text. There's many types of editors. I've just always used Atom. I like it. It works fine for me. It has its issues, but I've sort of I'm married to it now because I like it. So I just keep using it, right? And so you can just go there and you can immediately download, and it will sense which machine you're downloading from. So if you are in a Windows environment, I think you'll see it saying download for Windows over there, and just click this download and then install it properly. I'm not going to go through it because I've already installed it. There's just one thing I want to mention. If you're working on a Mac, which I hope most of you are, because I'm not going to redo this whole thing again for a Windows machine. If you're working on a Mac, what you need to do is to make sure that you created a symlink between your your Atom installed version to the command line, so that you can be able to call Atom from the command line. That's very, very important. You'll see me every now and then doing this command called atom dot. All right, so if you like open up your terminal, if you click at the top, the search, and you just look for terminal, right? And so this is our terminal that we're going to be working with here. You will see that there's a command called Atom, right? And if you click the command called Atom and you just like say enter, it'll immediately open an Atom for like an Atom file, it'll open Atom so that I can start working on it here, right? But what's really useful is to open Atom inside of a directory that you're working in, so that you can see all your files in the directory and so forth. And for that, you need to do atom dot. It will open Atom within the directory that you're in. So if you list here, let's pick a project here. Let's pick this one. Okay, let's cd in here. Okay, let's clear. And let's open, if you say atom dot in here, what it will do is that it will open Atom inside of this directory, inside of the Python Twitter directory that you're in, so that you can work with it with the files that you're with. So you'll see you're in that directory, and you'll see all the files that are in there, and you can work with them from inside of there. All right, so I'm not going to this is just an example project. Okay, it was some Twitter automation I was doing. I was just showing you, but these commands atom and atom dot are not by default. Okay, you have to actually install a symlink first. So you download your Atom, right? And then you might click atom dot and it works the first time. Sometimes it doesn't, right? And if you come across that problem when you're trying to follow me and you click atom dot and it doesn't open anything, when it says command not known or not found or whatever, what you need to do is to install a symlink. Okay, and there's a nice sort of like command line, your whatever command for installing a symlink, and I've attached it over here. So if you just copy this as it is like there, okay, and you copy that and you paste it into your into your command line, what this does, that it will go into your applications and look for the app Atom, and then it will symlink it to your user local bin for Atom, which means that now every time you run an Atom command, it will be running this command, so that you don't have to like do this manually every time. So that's why you can do atom dot atom. So you just basically build that Atom command. It's not always automatic. You have to do this the first time, but if you do this once off in your machine, you don't have to do it every time on a new project. You're going to do it once. So when I get a new machine, I also have to remember to run this command the first time, and then you pretty much sorted. Okay, so I just thought I should mention that. That's important, and it will be good for your development journey. Okay, so we have installed Atom now. So at this point, you've installed Atom, you've run this command, and test that you're able to run the command Atom like that, and it will open Atom for you, and that you're able to do atom dot, and it will open Atom in the directory that you're in. Okay, that's what you want. Okay, so now we're gonna need to create these two directories, right? Let's start with the SEOgram, which is, I think, this one. All right, so I'm going to let me just open up another window here. All right, and put it there, right? And let's go to a different directory. So I want to go into Scholar Courses. I want to go into the same directory I'm in here, Scholar Courses. So I'm going to create a actually no, I don't want to go in here. Let's edit all of this in the desktop quickly. Okay, so this is my desktop. We're gonna go back to the desktop, and then we're gonna go and we're gonna, I don't want to like move the whole thing, so that I can keep the original version in here as it was. So I'm just gonna copy it instead. All right, and then paste it in here. So what this will do is that I'll have a copy of this file, and maybe I can just we'll call this our landing. All right, so let's call this our landing. All right, once we've done that, if you CD out of here and you CD into your desktop, all right, you should be able to CD into landing. This is the new folder we just created. If you list everything in here, you will see all of the folders that are inside of this landing folder like that. Okay, so this is what you're seeing there. So from here, you can then open Atom from this location. And then when you do that, it will open Atom for you like that. And then we're going to do some edits because you want to, make sure that this is, in the right format. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do here that is important with this is that, just delete this. All right, I'm gonna also delete the Git. All right. In fact, let me just can I highlight them both and delete them at the same time? Yeah. The credits and the license, I'm gonna move to trash. So that I'm left only with the HTML folder. Let's see, and then whatever. So I actually want to move everything that's in the HTML folder over here. Yeah. Do I need to just actually I don't. So I can leave the HTML as it is. All right, so let me just rename a couple of things. So this is the index, that's okay. So if I click the index again, all the changes I've made didn't affect this index. Okay, so that's all right. All right, then if I click the contact, everything that I deleted didn't affect that. All right, so that's good to know. So I will leave it where it is. All right, so what I'll do is that I will let me just put this closer there and put this away. All right, put this in that other window. All right, good. So now what I mean by preparing I'm gonna just show you one and then you'll do the other ones off camera because it's gonna take too long. Okay, prepare your HTML for Django. What do I mean by that? All right, we're gonna use this HTML. Let's open the index, for example. We're gonna use these files inside of our Django application. All right, and I'm not gonna make any modification. The only thing I want to make is I want to change is how it accesses the assets folder. Okay, because I want to do it the Django way. All right, and then I'm going to decide as well if I want to have like a layout page. Okay, for now let's leave it, we can do it later. All right, so you see everywhere there's assets like that, I'm going to replace assets with I'm going to call this landing, which means inside of my static folder, I'm going to create a folder called landing and I'll put all of the assets for this landing page in there. All right. So so let's just replace all the dot assets with the landing like that. Replace all. All right. So then let's then search for this landing. All right. So that we don't miss anything. And then we're just gonna from the top. The first thing that you need to do inside of the folder to prepare it for Django is that you need to say load static. I know we're not in the Django app, but we're just preparing the template so that when we put it into the Django app, it's going to work the way it needs to work. Okay, so we need to load static at the top there. And then everywhere we see that, we're going to remove that. And we're going to say static and paste it like that. So inside of our static folder, we're going to create a new folder called landing, and then we'll be able to get the CSS. So everything that's inside this assets folder, so we're going to basically rename this assets folder. So this assets folder is going to be renamed to, where's the rename? It's going to be renamed to landing. All right, and then we're going to dump it inside of our Django assets folder, which means that when we refer to it, we'll be able to get it via landing and everything that's inside, and then this will work just fine. So what I've done over here, I'm not going to do everything on camera, but what I want you to do is to go throughout the whole template and find everywhere that it says landing, now that you replace landing, and rewrite it like this. Okay, what this means is that when we now import this template into Django, we will have a static folder. Inside of the static folder, we will put everything that was in here into that landing folder, and then we'll refer it that way. This allows us to, when we're doing the admin template, we can separate the CSS for the admin and the CSS for the landing page, and then we will have like sort of two different applications in one. Okay, so I'm going to pause it here, and I'm going to manually do this for this whole template, and you just pause it here as well and do the exact same thing, and then you can continue when you're done with this. And we're done. Okay, so basically, if you're just catching up by now, you should have gone through all your templates. Well, I went through all of them except the contacts one because I'm going to delete that. I'm not going to use it at all. All right. But you should have gone through your templates and replaced your static arrangement like this. Oh yes, and remember to import load static at the top of all the templates. Okay, so I sort of forgot that, and I might not use all of the templates as is. I'm just sort of like, you know, going through the motions, going through the steps. I might end up having to combine a couple of templates. I might end up using them differently, you know, but at least I have this format here. I could even use it for a different project in the future, right? So this is now the Django way of the of having the templates done. All right, so that when I use it inside of Django, I can just put this inside of my templates folder and put that inside of my static folder, and then I'm good to go, right? So one other thing I want to do, yes, I want to replace this. All right, I want to find everywhere there is that, and I just want to replace this with, I'm going to call my application Karabo. All right, so Karabo AI. So let me just like replace all of this with Karabo AI so that the title is not you know, talking about SEO gram. So I'm going to just replace that as well. And on the blog, the contact, I don't mind, I'm going to delete that. All right. So the next step now is to prepare the templates for Django, and you'll do the exact same thing for the admin. All right. But we're not going to do the admin now. We'll do that later, and we'll probably simplify it because we won't do it on all the pages, just the one we use. We need to now work on the landing page, but before we do that, let's pull this into Django, because if you now try to view this template, you won't see anything because it won't find the static folder. So we're not going to be able to edit the landing page the way we want it. So we're going to keep the default landing page and we'll edit it inside of our Django application. So what we'll do now is pull the Django project. So we've got our Django project, remember, inside our virtual server that we created in DigitalOcean, right? And it's a plain Django project with nothing on it, right? So we're going to need to pull that project into our machine so that we can now add these templates into it and get it to work the way that we want it, okay? So let's go and have a look at our Django project. So I need a clean, you know, terminal. And then I need to go and have a look at my, you know, IP address. So I need to copy the IP address. This is the one we did 8 days ago. So that's the one we're going to be working with. So you need to do SSH, remember, and your username, whatever username is that you selected yourself. So you're going to SSH into that virtual server and put in that IP address. We're going to go back to our Django project, make sure it's still running properly. And then we're going to then pull it and work with it from our virtual machine. From our physical machine. Okay, so I need to enter the password. Remember, we used passwords, which is a bad idea. If you can, try and use SSH keys, especially if you're going to put this app into production, because passwords are easy to crack. So now let's go back into development, and I think we called it Karabo. All right. So what we're doing here, we're just like navigating into where our files are. And inside of here, we're going to activate our environment, because I just want to make sure that our project is still working properly. So you're going to do source environment bin activate. Okay, so that then you'll see your environment activated on that side. And then we're going to cd into Karabo again. And then if you list, this is where your manage.py file is. And we're just going to run this and make sure that everything is still running properly. So we're just going to do python manage.py run server. And I'm going to run it on this port. All right, so if I then go and have a look at my IP address, so let me go and say HTTP and paste that IP address and port 7210, I think that was the one. I should find my Django application. This Django application doesn't actually have any HTML in it. This is just the default HTML that gets served when you don't have anything else in your Django application. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start by creating a new, so I'm going to stop this first, okay, and clear this. And if you list in here, you will see you only have this Karabo. This is the main folder, and then you've got your static folder, which doesn't have anything in it. So this static folder is where we're gonna hoy all of this landing stuff in that static folder, okay? But before we do that, what I need is I need to create a new app, okay? So, and I've forgotten the words for it. So I'm just gonna Google Django create app. Right? There's a create app Let's see if this is the one. There's a create app, because for this starts a project, and then after starting a project there is the create start app. Okay, so that's the one. This is the command we're looking for. So we're gonna create an app, because inside of Django you want to sort of work everything inside of an application. And the first app that we're going to create is going to be an app called front, okay, which is gonna or landing. We can call it landing. And then that app is pretty much going to manage all the sort of the HTML and the models and the the functionality and the logic behind the landing pages. Okay, and then we'll separate that from the rest of our applications. So I'm going to call, say, python manage.py start app, and I'm going to call this app landing. Okay, so it's going to be a landing app. And then if you now list here, you will see you now have a new folder called landing. All right. And if you cd into that folder called landing and you list everything that's in here, you will see it created all of these files for you already, default that you're going to be working with, going forward. All right. So what we're going to do is we are now ready to pull our application. We wanted to create the landing app. And so let me see over here. So yeah, let's clear that, and then I'm going to follow a tutorial which I have on Scholar. All right, so if you go to the Scholar website and you go to our documentation, so it's scholar.online/documents, you're going to find very nice tutorials on Django. So if you click on Django, there's everything you're gonna need to do on Django. Well, most of the things you'll ever need to do on Django. I've done like step-by-step how-to guides in here. So what I'm looking for is this. It's under cheat sheet, I think. It's git pull, okay? Because I want to pull everything that's in here. I want to pull everything that's in this folder and put it into my personal machine so that I can work with this on my personal machine. And then when I'm done, I'll push it back to GitHub and run it from GitHub, okay? But I can't type and do everything from GitHub. It will be very difficult. So let's follow the tutorial for git pull, okay? So the first thing that you need to do is you need to initiate Git inside of you would need to both computers, okay? So we're going to initiate Git inside of the virtual machine, I think, all right? So that we can pull from it. So if I look over here, inside of this of this folder in here, I need to do git init in here because I want to pull everything that's inside of here. So I'm going to git init and it will say initialize empty git repo, okay? So just copy this path because you're going to need it later. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this. You can paste it anyway, right? I'm just going to paste it in here. Because I'm going to need it later, right? So once I've initiated an empty git repo like that, yes, make sure that you copy that, yes. Then we're going to add everything inside of that repo and commit it so that we can be able to pull it, okay? So we're going to also git add, all right, git commit. We'll use master and we'll say initial commit Django app. All right, and to run this you need to have git installed, but if you followed my instructions and did a DigitalOcean droplet, it will come with git pre-installed. You won't have to install git yourself, but if you're working somewhere else you might have to install git yourself. All right, what is please tell me who you are. Okay, so I need to do this first. Okay, so I need to do git config and enter my email address. So my email address is going to be I'm just going to put in here my email address. I don't know, let's just say admin at scholar.online. all right, and then let's enter the name. All right, so paste that in there, and my name is Zatosh, right? And then that's good. So let's then try and run that git commit again, okay? And this time it committed successfully. All right, so we have committed all our folders and files inside of the git repo inside of this location, okay? So once you finish doing that, then you need to initialize git now in your personal computer in the location where you want these files to go, okay? So I'm going to open another like on terminal, you can open another tab. Okay, so I've got another tab open here, and this tab, let me clear, is inside of the location where I want the stuff to go. Okay, no, this is inside of the dashboard. So I don't want to be here. So I'm going to go out of here, and I'm going to go into development, Scholar courses. I think that's what I called it. Yes. All right. So in here, I'm going to create a new directory, and I'm going to call it, I think I already have it. Okay, let me check. I'm going to mkdir a new directory called Karabo. All right, and then I'm going to, let's see, so that worked, which means the directory wasn't there before, and then I'm going to cd into the directory. So you're going to create a directory anyway from wherever it is you want to work from. So go to that location and create a new empty directory, and then cd into that empty directory, and then when you list in here, there should be nothing in this directory. It's a completely empty directory. So we're going to pull all these files from here, and we're going to pull them into this empty directory so that we can work from here, our Django application. Then when we're done working from here, we push it to the virtual server, and we run it from the virtual server. Okay, so if you're following along, then it won't matter whether you're working with a Windows machine or whatever. You can follow along step by step, because we actually going to be running our code in here inside of this virtual environment, inside of the virtual server. We're not running it in our personal computer. We're just using our personal computer to type the thing. So you can follow me typing, and then we push all our changes, and we run everything on DigitalOcean Droplet. So we're running it on the same environment. So you should be able to follow along exactly what I'm doing without getting errors that are specific to operating environments and things like that. Okay, so now once you've done that, there's nothing in here. So let's continue. We need to initialize an empty Git repo. So at this point, you should have Git installed in your personal computer. If you don't have Git installed, just Google, install Git in whatever. If you're in Windows, Google Windows. If you're in Mac, Google Mac. Okay. You're going to find an article or something that will show you how to install Git, and then you can follow along and install it. Okay, so I'm not going to do that now because I already have Git installed. And if you're one of my students, by now you should have Git installed in your personal computer. So we already have Git installed, which means if we do Git init like this, it should run without an issue. If you get an error running Git init, it means you don't have Git installed, and then you must reinstall it. Okay, so I've got it installed, and then I'm going to initialize an empty Git repo. So this Git repo is inside of your personal machine, right? So this is your personal machine, okay? And this one is the virtual server at DigitalOcean. Right? So now you don't need to copy the one for the personal machine, but just to separate the two Git repos. These are two different Git repos. And then what you need to do now here is that you need to then add a remote repo in here that you're going to be pushing to or pulling from. All right, so over here I'm just going to copy this, and I'll show you what I'm copying. Okay, I'm gonna add a repo called upstream, and then I'm gonna put in my username to log into my repo inside of my virtual server. So I need my IP address there. Okay, and then I need the path to the repo, which is what we copied before. So username, the machine number, and the path to the repo is what you have in here. So we're gonna paste that in there, and we're gonna go and change this information. So my username inside of my repo, if you go back here, my username is Zatosh. So whatever username you used, that's the one you must replace with in here. So I'm going to replace this with Zatosh. And then the IP address, this is your IP address for your virtual server. Okay, so you can get this directly from your DigitalOcean dashboard. So you can copy that and then paste that in here. All right, and then the next part is your absolute path to your Git repo, which you would have received the first time you initialized Git in here, and I told you to copy that. So you will have that copied somewhere. So you need to just go and get where you copied it from and then paste it in here. All right, so I copied it, and that's the DigitalOcean server there. All right, so this is what I need the first time. So I'm gonna just cut it from there. All right, and then I'm gonna paste it in here. So it's home Zatosh development karabo.git. This is where that Git repo is. Okay, so then I don't need this anymore. I can delete that. All right, and then if you run it, you won't see anything, but basically what it's done is that it's just added a remote repo, and I've called this remote repo I've called this git remote add upstream. So I've called it upstream. Okay, so when I refer to upstream, I'll be referring to the repo that I just added that I'm going to be pulling from. Okay, so now what we'll do next is you just need to run this command git pull upstream master. What this does, it will then pull your git repo from, so it will pull all the files that you've added into this git repo over here, and it will pull them to where you have it here, so that you can work off the files from here. So I'm just going to say git pull upstream master. All right, and it's going to ask for my password because I need to log into my virtual server. Okay, so just type in your password there. All right, and then you'll see it working if you enter the correct password, and then that's it. Okay, so I'm going to clear this, and then if you now list in here, right, list -L, you should now see all these files in here that were not there before. All right, so this was an empty directory, remember. Now you've got some files and some folders in here. You can actually now do atom dot from here, which will open atom for you in this physical location that you're at, because that's what we're going to be working with now going forward. Okay, so I'm going to put this atom in there and leave that open. All right, so this is what I need. So this is what we need to work from. So this is now our Django application, right? What happened there? My stuff has disappeared from the bottom of the screen. All right, so let's close that. Let me actually just, my stuff can come back. All right, okay, so what you see over here is, why is it so dark? All right, so what you see over here, you can see your manage.py. You can see your static folder only has that admin because we run static and only added admin in there. All right, you can see your landing. This is the new app that you just created, and then this is your main folder. Okay, so the first thing that you must definitely do and not forget to do is to go inside your settings, which are going to be inside of your main app, settings.py, and you need to add that new app that you just created. So we created an app over here that we called, where is it? Installed apps, yes. So we created a new app that we called landing. So instead of installed apps over there, you just need to add that app called landing. Okay, you must not forget that you're going to have some errors running this. All right, and then just double check your database connection is okay. So the password is fine. Your time zone, you can leave it as UTC, but if you want to be time zone aware, because it's time zone aware, you can enter your actual time zone, I think. So my time zone here, I think there is a let me see, time zone list. Okay, I just want to see the correct TZ time zones. Okay, so open this in a new tab, and depending on which time zone you are, so this is a nice website. Actually, I can put this inside of our notes as well. Okay, so that you always have this link and it will be useful for you. Okay, double check the time zone that you want to work with. Okay, over here we have made our app time zone away. Okay, so you need to specify the server time zone or your time zone that you want to work with in here. So I want to work with Africa, Johannesburg. I think it's here, Africa, Africa, Johannesburg. So you can just copy this. This is the right way of putting it, and you can paste it in there. All right, so Africa, Johannesburg, that's my time zone. And then there's a couple of things. So I'm going to go back to my Django app. All right, and I'm going to go through some of the things you just need to make sure you've got to be able to work with this without an issue. So we did all of this up to there. Okay, so these are some useful imports I've got inside of my notes that you're probably going to need at some point inside of your Django application. And it's just a good idea to install it earlier on so that you don't have to install it later. Okay, so Django, obviously you've already installed. Request, you're almost always going to work with requests. Okay, so I'm going to go here back into my virtual server. Okay, let me paste this in here, and I'm going to make sure I'm inside of the virtual environment, and I'm going to install requests. Okay, let me see what else is here. Pillow. If you're going to work with images at all, whether it is a profile image, if you're going to find yourself uploading a profile image, you're going to need to work with pillows, and you're going to need, with images, then you're going to need pillow. So this is a good thing to always have, right? So I'm going to install that as well, pillow. And then let's see, Django resized. If you work with images, you're going to need to work with Django resized. People love to upload a profile image that is 10 megabytes in size, and it's just going to slow down everything. So inside of the models, the way I write my image models, I write them in such a way that immediately when somebody uploads, it'll automatically resize that image. So if someone is uploading a profile image, I will resize it to 500 pixels. I will resize it to a square image, before they upload, and it's stored as a resized image, so that I reduce the load on my server, and I don't have people uploading profile images that are, 10 megabytes in size, right? So this is just good practice. So I'm going to install that as well. Crispy forms is a must if you're going to be working with forms. I don't even need to explain myself on this one. So we're definitely going to install that one. All right. And then, so let's paste that in there. That's crispy forms. And then the next one, let's see, NumPy, HTML2 TinyMC. We're not going to use any of those. All right. And channels and Redis, not yet. Maybe we'll do it later on, and we'll install it when we need it. Okay. So the settings. All right. So for the settings, so let's go into the settings. Into the Django settings. All right, so this is very useful to add inside of your settings.py file. What this does is that it just helps map the Django message tag to to Bootstrap, sort of like alert classes, because you find that a Bootstrap alert class is like info, success, warning, danger. But when the Django messages are created, they created, you get debug info, success, warning. All right, and error, for example, is different from danger. So if you say messages danger, it's not going to work on the messages side, and inside of the Django, inside of the Bootstrap class, it's called danger. So this just helps you it just helps you like map messages to the Django Bootstrap classes. So it's something I always add inside of my Django app at the top. Okay, so I can go back, put this away, and let's just go back into the settings. All right, and then just make sure that you paste it at the top here, and then you just need to make sure you import the messages. And I just have to remember how to import messages. Okay, so let me just Google that. I forgot how to do that. Django. Don't be afraid of Googling. Hey, do not be afraid of using Google. Is your friend. Okay, so import messages. Let me just double check if I'll find it on the first one. No, it's not the one. Yeah, I think this is the one. Import messages. Yeah, there it is. This is the one you want. So these messages at the top, these are these messages. These messages here are the ones that you're going to be referring to. Messages debug must be mapped to info. Messages info must be mapped to info. Messages success can be mapped to success. Messages warning will be mapped to warning, but messages error is mapped to danger because the Bootstrap class is actually danger. Okay. So I'm actually add this into my documentation there so that people remember that. Okay. So the next thing you want to add is inside of your templates, you need to create a templates directory. All right. So you can just basically copy this and edit inside of the template dirs inside there. So you can just replace that with that. So this means that Django will look for templates or HTML templates inside a directory called templates. So we must then create that directory, right? So over here, what we'll do is that we will create a new folder that we will call templates, right? And inside that templates folder, we can create another one that's called landing, obviously. So our landing templates are going to sit in here. All right. And when we have another class, another application, this is landing application, the templates will sit there. If we have another application, it will sit we'll create more and more folders for all our apps as we grow our Django app. Okay, so that's what this covers. All right, then once you've done that, if you've got like template tags, you can add them in here. All right, so I don't think I'm going to be uploading any files or getting file names, but these template tags are really useful for like file handling inside of Django, but I don't think we'll need that. Databases we've already done, time zone we've already added, and then media and static files. All right, so you can choose what you want to call your media files. Some people call it media, some people call it uploads. I like to call it uploads. These are all the files that are going to be uploaded inside of the Django app. They will go into the uploads folder, right? And the static will remain like that. So I'm just going to copy these settings, and at the bottom there where you need to do that, you can actually just paste them in here. Underneath, then you can see static URL is already there, and static dirs and static root, so you can remove that because you already now defined it again at the bottom. Okay, so that's sufficient. So you need all of these added to your static to your folder to just direct Django to where is the static folder and where is the media folder. And the media folder, you can call it anything you like. I like to call it uploads, and then we'll leave it at that. Okay, so if you're gonna be sending emails from your Django application, which is always the case, especially when you have what we call authentication. We are going to be sending emails, all right? That you cannot avoid. You're going to need to have email backend settings added as well. So when somebody logs in, for example, we're going to need to send them an email that says, hey, thank you for logging in, blah, blah, blah. Or, here's your password, reset, whatever it is that you're going to be sending. So I haven't come across a Django app yet that did not have to send emails, all right? So this, you can put it right at the bottom after everything else. You can put that in there, all right? Obviously, these are not the correct settings. You must put in your email settings, okay? So you must put in your host in there, all right? You must put in your port. So the port and the use TLS, you can leave as it is because most of them use the same port. And then you just need to put in your username. So if your username was, I don't know, admin@scholar.online, that's the email address you want to use. You put that in there, and then you put in your password, your email password, the one you use to set up Outlook, for example. You're going to put that password in there. And then default from email must just be the same as the host user, okay? So just add these settings in there. Okay, I'll do mine off camera, obviously, because I don't want to show my email settings and passwords, but make sure you do this before you continue, because later on when I start writing emails from the application and then you get an error, then you're gonna be like, oh, email is not sending and you forgot to set this up, because I might not remember to remind you, because I'm gonna set it up and then my app is gonna work and then yours might not work because of that error. So do it now. Pause the video and go get your email settings and do it now so that you won't forget to do it in the future. So once you've done that, login and redirect URL, these are important. And this is just standard how I like it, just to tell Django what is your login URL, what is your and I'll put it a little bit up there. All right, so this just like, so if somebody logs out, Django will automatically take them back to the login page, but it doesn't know what that login page is unless if you specify it in here. All right, and then when somebody is logged in, like if you create what we call filters for parts that must check for somebody's login and log out, and it checks for that somebody is logged in, it needs to know if somebody is logged in, where must I redirect them to. So I'm going to create a path called dashboard. I'm going to create a path called login. Okay, and because I haven't created these paths yet and I don't want to get an error at this stage, I'm just going to sort of like highlight them out. All right, I'm going to sorry, what am I doing here? Oh no. I'm just going to highlight them out so that I can, I'll come back to them later. But, you're going to need something like this. All right. Actually, I don't need to highlight them. It's not going to give me an error. No, it's not going to give me an error at this stage. It will only give me an error if it has to implement this and then the path doesn't exist. Okay. Okay. Django resized. If you have installed Django resized, then you might want to put this settings in there. All right, I will install Django resize. In fact, I've already installed it, so I know I'm going to need it. So I'm going to just copy them here. These are like the default Django resize settings, but inside of the model you can also specify the resize sizes. So if you didn't specify inside of the model, it will use the default. So the default is this 500 and 500, so it will by default always resize the image to 500 pixels that times 500 pixels, a square image. But I will be specifying this in the models anyway, but it's good to have the default in here, so that in case you forget to specify it, then it will default to the default. Okay, then let's go down. We're not going to be using tiny MCE, so we're going to forget that. And the time zone stuff, that's good. Okay, so the Django, so then we can start with the models and everything. Okay, so this is good. I'm going to save that. All right, so once I've saved that, we're going to start working on our URLs and and all those other things. Okay, so let's see, do we have URLs in here? So maybe I need to create a sort of a file for URLs, because what we need to do as well as we're setting up the URLs is that, remember, we've got this where is it, this Karabo in here, and you got URLs in there. Okay, we're not going to specify all of our URLs inside of here. Instead, what we're going to do is that we're going to specify, okay, wait, there it is. Yeah, path block. Actually, they've given you what you need to do over there. All right, so our path block include blog URLs. Okay, that's what we're going to be doing. So instead of specifying the URLs, all the URLs in this one URL file, okay, we are going to, inside of our landing app, for example, we're going to create a new file that we're going to call urls.py. All right, and inside of this new file called urls.py, we are basically going to import this thing as well. Okay, I think we need to import path and we need to import includes. Okay, because no, we don't need to import include. We need to import include in here. Right, we need to import include in there so that we can copy that. So that we can copy that and paste it in there. What this will do is that it will include a path to landing. In fact, we can just leave it blank in this case, because the landing can be the blank, the default. Okay, so there's no app name in front of it. And then we can just include landing.urls. And this landing is the folder name. So you must make sure that this folder name matches that. You don't have to import it in here. It's inside of a code, so it's a string, so it's going to look for a folder called landing and then look for a file called URLs, and then everything that's inside of that file will be represented inside, it will be included inside of this path. All right, and then you just make sure you import include in here. All right, and then on the other side, I'm going to copy this. All right, actually let me copy this URL pattern as it is and paste it in there. All right, but this is not the URL pattern that I want. The URL pattern that I want is this one now. Okay, and this URL pattern, we're gonna paste it in there. And so for the home page, which will leave blank again, so if someone goes to the index, it will definitely be blank, and we'll call this should we call this home? Yeah, let's call this home, and then we'll call this home as well. All right, so this is like the default home page. Okay, if we call this home, it means that we need a we need to import views in here. Okay, so from views, import, let's just import everything from views, which means that there's a view, import that as views. Is that how you do it? I'm just going to double check that I'm not doing this wrong. Okay, so actually you can't do that. You can't say import everything as views. No, this is not the right way to do it. Okay, so I'm going to get the right import over here. I'm going to double check my other file. I don't always remember every single step, but you basically need to import your views in here so that you can have views dot whatever it is that the file, the path that you need to get to. All right, and then inside of your views file, you will create your view in here. So we'll create a view called home, and this view will take in a request object, and it will return it will render an HTML, all right, and then we'll direct to where that HTML is. So it will definitely be inside of landing, and we're gonna call it index.html, all right, and then we're gonna maybe enter an empty context, all right. So we're gonna do it like that, and this will then render this page, landing index.html. But let's go back here and get this. Okay, so that's how you put it. You say import from this directory that you're in right now, import the views, and then you can say views.home, and then you make sure that inside of the views file you have created a path called home, all right, and then you render. We need to put in the request here as well. Okay, you render the request and that HTML index and then an empty thing. So when we run this application, technically, all right, we should be able to view our landing page properly, right? Provided we have saved it in where it needs to be. So we need to make sure that inside of the landing folder, we have a file called index.html. So that file will get rendered when somebody goes to the home path, and somebody will go to the home path if they use the URL that takes them to home, which is the empty URL, which if you go back to the original, to the main URL folder, is this one, which has includes over here. All right. So what I need to do now is to definitely import my HTML and my my templates. This is why we did this. All right. So let's go back here. Let's say let's go to physically move the files. I think that will be faster because it's in the same machine. So I'm just gonna go home. I'm gonna go Scholar Courses, and I think we call this what, Karabo. All right. So inside of Karabo, inside of the static folder, we just need this landing folder in there. Okay. Oh no, what's happening? Okay, not like that. Let's just delete this, move to bin. We need that whole folder in here called landing, right? And then inside of the, the templates over there, so we can, and inside of landing, all right? So these are the templates. We started with index, all right? So we're definitely going to use about, blog details. Let's just put these ones, everything except contact, because we knew we're not going to use that. So we've got these files in here. All right. So if we now go back to our directory, you can see they've all been copied in there. So inside of landing, we now have our index.html, which is now being referred to. All right. So I'm going to remove that. Just make sure that that we're on the same page here. I didn't notice that, but let me just remove it on all of it. Yes, it is the copyright, but I'm just gonna, I don't need to show it on my website. I think we will leave them. You probably can't remove this anyway, eh? I'm not sure. So I could be doing something that's totally not allowed. But anyway, we'll find out before I go live, and if I must, I can always return it. Okay. So so let's then close that. So now we've got our index in there, right? And let me just keep this open and go back to our landing. If we go to our views, we are now rendering that landing page, and the URLs are also set for that. And we should be able to, this time when we run our Django application, see the landing page that we just built. Okay, so I'm gonna save this, and now remember, this is sitting now in my virtual machine. I mean, it's sitting in my physical machine. I need to run this in my virtual machine. I'm not going to run this in my physical machine. But if you wanted to run your physical machine and you were not using the virtual server, you could just run it like this. If you were not, you could follow along, and I'm going to follow this tutorial. Again, go back to cheat sheet, and now we need to do a git push. All right. So we need to do a git push, and there are some things you need to do for a git push. Okay. So let me just pull this closer so that I don't have to move too many times. All right, let me close that. So this is inside of this here. We need to cd out of here because we need to create a repo. All right. So this is the repo. Okay. So let's cd into the repo. All right. If I cd to the repo, you'll see there's nothing. It's just an empty repo. All right, so over here is where you create the repo. All right, and you must git init a bare repo in there. So the way you init this repo is different from initializing the other ones. This you must do a bare one. All right, and it will tell you initialize empty git repo. All right, that's good. Then once you've done that, you need to edit a file that's called a hooks post receives. So what this will do is that every time now this bare repo gets pushed into it, it will then sort of like do whatever the instructions that are in here, which means we need to then move our files into the other git repo that we want. So the one that we want to move our files into this. So if you go to cd, we want to move our files into this folder called Karabo. Okay, so this is sort of the path for this. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this. Can I paste it in here? So I can see that this path is Karabo, and then the repo is gonna be Karabo repo. All right, so let's do that. Let's then do a hooks post receive inside of the repo. All right, let's clear that. Let's paste hooks post receive. It's gonna ask me for a password. What's my password again? All right, so it's gonna open that. Then we're gonna paste this in here, and then you must just note what it is you are pasting. Okay, what you're pasting is the working tree is where the files are gonna be put, and then the directory of the repo is this one, is where the repo is right now. Okay, that's why I wanted to paste this for you. So the way the files must go is here, is development that. So home, username, and then the path. Okay, so you need to start with the direct, or sort of like what we call the absolute path. Okay, so from home, my username is Zatosh. Then after my username is Zatosh. Then after my username, then I can paste the rest. It's development Karabo. So this is the working directory. Okay, and the repo itself is similar to what we have in here, except the last part is called repo. So I can actually just copy this, right, and paste it in there, and it will say Karabo, and then at the end it must say repo. Okay, so this is the absolute path to the repo. Okay, and then the other one is the absolute path to the working directory. This is very, very important. Okay, so this is the directory where the files must go to. This is your working place, and then this is where you've created that repo folder where we are currently right now. Okay, I mean up to here, our physical location right now. So you must paste those accordingly, right? And then you can say yes, save that. All right, and then very, very important, after you've done this, you must run this command. If you don't run this command, it's not going to work. Okay, so we run that command, and then we clear everything. We can go back out of here and go back into the working directory again. Remember, this is the working directory, development Karabo. If you listen here, you'll see you have landing, whatever. You don't even have the templates folder. So when we push back from our machine into this machine, we should now see the templates folder and things like that. That's how we'll know that the changes have been included. So inside of our virtual machine, we need to add now the remote repo. Remember, we have a remote repo already called upstream. We can add another one. You can have multiple ones. So I'm going to clear this one, and I'm going to add now add origin. Okay, so this is a different repo. This is the one we're going to be using for pushing into this, and the other one was for pulling, right? So here we're going to call Zatosh. That's my username in the machine. I need my physical IP address. So let's go back and copy it from here. Okay, it's quite a lot of work, building these things, and then you code people, and people think you're being expensive, and they don't understand the amount of effort that goes into doing these things yourself. All right, so this is the address where your repo is sitting. Okay, so you could go back there, right, and have a look at it. You could go back into cd out of here and cd into repo again, and then you could reopen that file that you had before, this file. Okay, you don't even have to do sudo. You can just open it without sudo, because you don't want to make changes to it. Okay, you can open that file again, and then what you're looking for is this other path. The second path is the one that you want. This is the path to your repo. All right. So this path, Karabo repo. Okay. So development, Karabo repo. So do not save any changes. So over here, home, Zatosh, that's the username. It's development, and then it's Karabo, and then it's a repo. Right? So just make sure you didn't misspell anything, because it's a mission if you get this wrong. Okay, so git remote add origin. All right, this is my username inside of the virtual machine. This is my IP address of that virtual machine, and then once I'm inside the virtual machine, this is the path to where the repo is. It's home, it's inside my username Zatosh, it's inside a folder called development, and then it's inside another folder called Karabo, and then it's in the repo. Okay, so we're gonna enter that, and then we're gonna clear this. Right now we need to git add. Right, we're gonna git commit. All right, we've updated the landing app and index HTML page. Right, so we're adding in there clear. All right, and we've added the static folder as well, which was not there before. Yes, that's why it's adding so many things. And then now what you can do is that you can git push. We are git pushing now origin master. So this command should also be in here. So after you've added, you need to commit first. Okay, so I forgot to add the git commit in there, but you would know that you need to commit first, and then after that you can push it. Okay, it's going to ask for my password, I think. So every time we make changes from over here, we're going to be making changes inside of here, and every time we make changes, we're going to be pushing our changes to the virtual server, and then we're going to have a look at our virtual server over here. So let's cd out of here and cd into Karabo again. All right, and if you list there, you see now we've got that templates folder that wasn't there before, and the static folder. If we cd into the static folder and you list, you'll see you also have that landing static that was not there before, that we just pushed now. Right, so now what we can do is that we can test to see that we don't have any errors. Okay, we're going to test to see that we don't have any errors. We're going to do python manage.py run server. You can use any port that you like, that's available. No errors, which means we don't have at least glaring errors in our application. But let's double check if this is really working. So I need to be able to, so this was the default Django app, remember? So now we should see our app in here. There you go. Cool. Right, so this is now that index.html served inside of our Django app. All right, and it found the static folder just fine. Hey, so this is really, really good. So you can do that. Okay, if you navigate there, you're not going to see anything, because you're going to try to go to about.html. We need to sort of sort out our layout properly. So we need to have this menu done properly with the bottom part, and sort that out. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, so this video is getting quite long, but let's do that quickly, so at least we've got the basics done. Okay, so doing the layout is actually very, very simple. All right, so inside of the templates there, you've got that landing folder. I'm going to create not a new file. I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call that folder layout. All right, and inside that folder, I'm going to create a layout for landing. Okay, landing .html. Okay, so this is going to be a new folder for landing. I'm actually going to copy everything that's in here, right? everything exactly, and I'm going to cut it out of there and I'm going to put it in here, because it's not going to form our landing page. Then once we've done that, what we want is, this menu stuff remains pretty much the same. All right. So everywhere there's an href like this inside of the landing, right? What we're going to do is that we're going to remove this contact. Remember, we removed the contact. We don't want that in there. All right. And this free analytics, we're going to replace this with a log, register, right? So that people can register, and then it takes them to the registration page. All right. And this blog, let's just leave it blank for now. It doesn't take you anywhere. We will create a blog later on. Services, maybe let's rename this and call it, should we call this services? What do we want to call this? Like, we're going to have different, AI, what you call it? We're going to have different, actually, let's remove these services so that we can, we don't have a services page specifically, and also an about us page. Do we need this? Yeah, about Karabo. Maybe we'll create an about us page, if we want to, so that we can at least have two different pages, and I can show you how the layouts work really well. Okay, and this one, we can already make this URL for home because we already have the URL for home set up. Okay, all right, this home, remember, if you go into the landing and the URLs, is this what you called the URL there. Okay, so you can just make that URL for home. Okay, so inside the container, you'll see over there, check your website. Let's check and optimize your website over here. So this is the navigation and it ends there. All right, and then this starts there. All right, the container, and then you've got everything in here until the footer. All right, so the footer and the menu generally remain the same throughout your pages, and so you don't want to replicate them every time you create a page, because every time you want to make a change, you must change it in all the things, and it's bad engineering practice or bad development practice. So what you want is for those parts that remain the same, especially like the where is it, the footer over here. All right, we want that to be part of the layout. Okay, so everything that starts there, view more, just underneath the view more button. So I'm going to cut all of this. I'm going to remove all of this up to the navigation, just underneath the navigation. Okay, so all of this, I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to enter a block, and I'm going to call this block body, right? And after block body, I'm going to end block like that. And then inside of now the index, we're going to now have a block body somewhere in here. All right, which means that it will then, show that instead of, on this page. And then when we edit the index page, we only focus on editing the body of the page and block. All right, so, and then we can paste that in there. All right, and then obviously we need to load static, right? And then we need to enter extends, because we need to specify what it extends, that it extends a different a template. So I think this is how you do it. Extends, it extends layout. Okay, layout landing. Landing.html, I think, put it like that. Yes, we'll check if that works. All right, so it extends landing, and everything we've done now, we should not change the way our website looks. All right, so we've only now broken down the template into a layout. All right, so this landing layout is now going to be the layout we use for all the other pages. All right, and then it's just the the header and the footer. So if we want to change the footer, for example, over here, instead of saying SEO gram, we want to say in here Karabo AI, right? And then we're gonna put some stuff in here. Let Karabo think for you. I'm gonna sort the content of this website next week, okay? Because I've done so much already this week. I think we will leave that for next week, all right? And over here you got the SEO gram. Let's see at the top there. SEO gram. So what we can put in here is that we can say Karabo Okay. Actually, we can put the AI first and then put it later. So then this will change. It'll look like a logo, but it will say karabo.ai, and we can, we've changed the menu a little bit. And then now if we want to make changes to the index file, we only have to change it here. Okay, let's check how to optimize your website. Let's find a nice tagline for this. We'll change this later because we're going to optimize our website content as well. But for now, we can just say meet Karabo. All right, and then maybe we'll put something in here about your AI content. Your AI content generator is finally here. Karabo will sort you out. Okay, it's fine. I'm going to change this later. And then I just want to just illustrate to you how to do the, the templating, the Django templating. All right. So once we've done this over here, we can then now, all we need to do is to git add, git commit -m layout changes. All right. And push. And when we push, it will just basically push all the changes we've done here. We're going to have to enter our password every time. If you had your SSH key set up, you wouldn't have to enter the password every time. It would just do that for you. So I'm just going to restart this. And then we're going to have a look at our website. All right, extends layout. All right, so yeah, should be the first tag in the template. All right, so this should come first before load static, right? All right, let's save, let's push again. Oh, I put in the wrong password, thinking of another virtual server. Okay, so let us then restart that. We should have no problems this time. There you go. All right, so you can see we've changed the menu to About Karabo to the blog. We've changed that to the register page, and everything we put in there, you can see meet your AI content generator, and everything looks exactly the same. But basically, we have like two different templates, one for the landing and one for that. Now, what we can do now is that when we come to our About Us page, now we can create a new page, which is About Karabo. Right, so inside of not the layout, inside of the landing app, we can create a new file that we call about, okay, .html, and in this, oh, it already exists. Oh, okay, so about is this one here. Okay, so we can't do this. Okay, so I know what we can do there. So we can delete everything that's in here and just keep the content. All right, so we can go from the content from this container here. All right, so from underneath the nav, so you can delete everything in there at the top, right? And then go to the bottom and where the navigation, the footer starts. All right, you can delete all of that. All right, and then you can put this inside of a block body. All right, so you can put this inside of a block body and end block, and then you can paste that in there. All right, so then let's double check just how we did it in the index, and then we just have to load static and extend the same layout template. All right, and then suddenly you've got another template, and you don't have to rewrite your menu every time. You don't have to rewrite your footer every time. If you change your footer once in the landing page, it will change for all your different pages. All right, so you need to, that's all you need to do, and then you go back now to the app, to our landing app. We need to create the new URL for it. So we're going to create a new URL that we're going to call about. All right, so let's call this about. All right, and then let's call that about. All right, and then we're going to have to call this about. It can be the same path. All right, so maybe we can even say about Karabo AI. Helps with your SEO to be specific. on the URL path. Then inside of your views, you just basically create a new view function called about. All right, so this new view function is about, and then landing about.html. So now what's going to happen is when somebody goes to the about page, they will see the about.html rendered, which is this about.html we just created now. And then you can like edit it over here if you want to edit the about information. Okay, so home about Karabo, let's say this is about Karabo AI, and then we're going to work around the content for this page next week. All right, so let's save all of this and double check that inside of our menu, inside of the landing, definitely the about page, we need to add this URL in here so that we can navigate to it. Okay, so this will be a URL that's called about, and make sure by the time you edit here, you've already edited it inside of your urls.py and you called it about. Okay, so that's all you need to do. Let's then run this again. About page done. Okay, so that's good. That looks good. So there is a syntax error, is because I forgot the commas at the end. That is why. So I'm going to save that again and rerun it. Coolio. So this time we should run without an issue, and then if we refresh this page, you shouldn't see any difference. We didn't make any changes to this, but suddenly the about page has been added. So if you click on about, you can now go to the about Karabo.ai, and all of this works. And this works well because we set up our templates before. Remember when we set up our templates, when we already went and referred to the correct page for the static location and made sure that we edit this properly. So you have to do that first for this to work the way it's working. Otherwise, when you get here, then you still have to set up your static locations and things like that. Okay, so I'm happy for that. This is enough work for one day. Okay, this is quite a lot, but from here onwards, it's going to be mostly Django. I know the setup, a lot of it was not Django related, because you have to set up your environment, you have to set up you have to download the things that you need to work with. So we do a lot of stuff that was not really Django, but it's necessary for you to be able to get to work. But from now onwards, a lot of what we'll be doing will be maybe 90% Django. Because we've set up our app, we can see. So next week, what we're going to do is that we're going to start by creating the content nicely for these websites, because I'm taking you through the process of creating a proper professional website. Okay, so I'm also going to show you how to write good website content, and we can use our AI help us to do that as well, by the way, so that we get the best website content. But you can start that as a homework. Okay, so you got homework from now until next week. Rewrite this page how you like it, and think about the services you want to offer. You know, you want to offer a blog writer, you want to offer a Facebook, whatever, a cold email generator. What is it you want to offer? Okay, think about those services so that we can then build those in next week. I'll think about what I want to offer, and then next week we will do that. But you don't have to do what I'm doing. You can create your own, thing, right? Think about that. Try to write some, content over here, and try and get some nice, graphics. Remember I told you about Enviro Elements? If you don't have an Enviro Elements account, you might want to get one now, because you're going to need a nice graphic to sit over there, maybe a nice one over there as well, and build your About Us page very, very, in a creative way. So I'm going to let you do some homework and try and pimp this page, but otherwise we'll continue from next week to pimp this page, and then we'll do the exact same thing for the admin, and then we'll start creating our login, like our authorization, so that when somebody clicks there, it takes them to a login page, and then we do authorization and so forth, and then we're going to do all of that maybe next week. But I think this is definitely enough for 1 week. So I'll see you guys next week.